That's a great thumbnail.
He did a good job. You should see later on tomorrow when you see his cutouts. Did you just give me the head nod now?
I gave you several head
Oh
nods.
my god!
You
Are
weren't
you kidding
looking.
me?
I was all on you.
And
I
even
saw
like
it.
our book review for Star Wars Republic, he did that while I was eating the bastard. Like I couldn't believe it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever MCU TV show review by the Geek. Oh my goodness, it is so nice to say that, and it is the first. Oh, it is the first MCU review since Spider-Man Far From Home. Boys, it has been a long time, but we're here, and you know what that means. I am the Illusion, Travis Snell.
Oh, I am Glamour, Kirklin Patzer.
I am. I'm the beekeeper, Taylor Field.
Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed by the title or our nicknames, this is, like I said, a WandaVision spoilers review for episode 1 and 2. Taylor, quickly, where can they find us all over the interwebs?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. Check us out on our home base, geekverse.ch. Check us out on our social media, GeekverseCast on Twitter, and then check us out on our Facebook at Geekverse. We have, in celebration of WandaVision, our Marvel Legacies fan base community poll popping off right now. So make sure you pop over there and drop your votes because it changes every day at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
I'll have to check while you guys are talking. I don't even know who's winning tonight. I haven't seen who. Do you know who's winning between the combatants right now?
I already made the scheduled post for tomorrow. Yeah, it's definitely. Oh, I'm trying to remember who is versing right now. I'm drawing a blank right now. But there's one guy who's clearly in the lead. It's
Just dominating.
Is it Buddy from Blade, or is that?
Yeah,
the...
yeah,
No,
it's
that-
Deacon Frost.
Yeah, Deacon Frost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just
So,
talked
ladies-
about that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, head down in the description below. You can find all where we are on the audio and video feeds. Check out everything we got going on. Head over to Patreon. You get a bunch of different tiers to do ad-free, exclusive, early episodes. Soon we'll be dropping a bunch of stuff. We're going to be doing some Marvel retrospectives. We're doing our BVS and Justice League commentary track. Kirkland Paz is going to watch Man of Steel for the first time. We're going to be watching tons of Marvel stuff. It's going to be tons of fun. Golden Geeks, our Oscars are coming up next week, our nominations. So tons of fun stuff happening. Check out our podcast network. 10 shows, 7 days a week. I think I've done everything. Boys, let's get into it. Taylor Field, what did you think? We have our first 2 episodes. We'll do our non-spoilers little thoughts, and then we'll go episode by episode. But what do you think of the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, the first MCU Disney Plus show?
Yeah. So again, no spoiler. It's obviously you've seen the trailers. You know the time periods they're doing and the sitcom kind of esque thing, and the episodes tackling this kind of sitcom classic old school thing. I really really like it. Again, I
Surprised.
surprised.
I thought
You,
that
like,
I thought
genuine?
No, I genuinely like it. Like I've
No,
watched.
sorry, I'm asking Travis.
Oh.
Is he?
no, I am.
genuinely
I thought it was
surprised?
going the other way, to be honest.
Oh,
the
no,
way he was
I-
leading up to that.
I'm a huge Lucy Ball fan. Like the Marx Brothers. My mind is
I love
so
Lucy.
slow. I
He
love
doesn't
Lucy.
even know the
Yeah. My mind is not here right now. It's 1 a.m. Anyways, yeah. So Lucy,
You're at the wall.
Marx Brothers, Three Stooges, just those old sitcoms and just like funny, quirky things. Like it's funny, it's quirky, and I like it. And I like that they did this. It was an interesting transition from Marvel, where it's just thrusted right in the action, and we just have something where you can kind of like lay back and just kind of enjoy what's going on, all the while you're still paying attention to the odd little thing. Travis is immediately popping off. Well, we're like 3 minutes in, and I catch one thing that stands out to me, which I think is cool. And Travis is like, so many Easter eggs. Like, I'm not catching any of these things. There's like one blatant, obvious thing that they just shove in front of you, which I thought I really liked. I thought it was cool, and they did it again. And we'll touch upon that. They did it again in the second episode, and again, that one made me really find it interesting. But I do have questions when we get into spoilers, but again, it was a great starting episode. It was awesome, and it just ended with that mystery where it's like it leaves you unsettled. It leaves you feeling weird, and there's just several parts where it feels like it's comedy and it's funny, but it feels like a horror movie at times, and it just this is like a pre, not a prequel, but like a pre-establishing aesthetic and horror vibe leading to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I feel, and I'm so excited for what's to come.
Kirkland Patzer.
Yeah, so I was getting really, really hyped for the show when we saw the last trailer, and man, my expectations were definitely met for this. I was totally loving like the old classic TV show vibe that they're going with. I guess I should save. Yeah, never mind. That's kind of a spoiler. I'll save that one. But I absolutely loved it. I love the comedy. I like it was working for me. I was chuckling to myself. I was laughing. It was really good. The performances. It was so awesome. I loved seeing Wanda and Vision in this dynamic. It was something definitely different that we got to see in the other MCU movies. It's so fun. I really like it. And then yeah, like when it does that like shift, like Taylor was mentioning, of like kind of feeling like a horror movie, like I was getting chills. Like I'm literally home alone right now. It's 1 a.m. and I'm just like getting freaked out. All the lights are off. But the way that it does it, it's like a slow burn, and I really appreciate that. And it's so like I'm so excited for next week. This is so awesome. So great first 2 episodes.
Yeah, no, I am just going to say what I've said many times is for the comic book genre, I want it to be like comic books where it has to evolve and be different. And people had warned us, we had seen from the trailers that this was going to be different, and man, is it different, which in the best way possible. Just because like they just go full on for that comedy shtick. It's not even like the guy, like there is a guys to it, but just like you're just literally in the episode of like a 60s sitcom and whatnot. But then, like you guys said, there's these little moments, break of reality, or just a hinting. We're not going to talk too much until we get into spoilers. But yeah, I was always surprised about how well as I'm watching it, how like you said, there's actual jokes that I'm just like enjoying and laughing.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was fun. It's like Taylor's talking about, it's fun to be back in this world, but it doesn't feel exactly like the MCU world. Like it's weird to get that Marvel Studios logo, which was cool because we got the first Phase 4 one, so we're seeing like scenes from Endgame and stuff pop off. The very last image in the logo is Black Panther like exploding the purple lightning and everything like that, like whatever, not lightning, but like the beams and whatnot. So just like that was cool. So that got me hyped, like hearing that again. But then when like the logo shrunk down, just minor spoilers, and then it was what we're getting. It just, and they had talked about this in the press how they were looking at things and making sure it was up to task as far as 60s TV, but they did a good job. And yeah, I like this week to week because I think we're gonna have fun talking about this today and in the future. But I was so ready to like just watch it all right now, like if it was there right now, just because it's just I'm so excited. And that's what I thought. I honestly thought some people had said like, oh, the first episode's nothing but comedy. It is, but I thought there was even more like hints in it than I was expecting. I was worried that okay, maybe it is just gonna be full on shtick, but the whole time there's like a little hint, and then you'll get like 5 minutes like, oh, they're little fun adventures, but then there's something else. And yeah, I think this is. I can honestly see some people not liking this show, and I will get it, but I just love the slow burn, and I just love it's like we've talked about before with a Joker, with a Logan. It's like we want different stuff in this genre. We have to get different stuff, and this is the definition of it. Falcon Winter Soldier I think is gonna be great in a couple months, but that looks okay. That's like a Falcon Winter, or that's like Winter Soldier action movie. But this is nothing like MCU's done before. Yeah, sure they've gone wacky with Doctor Strange and time travel, but this is like really wacky. And like, but for me it all worked, and that's a good thing because even the wacky stuff, I was always working this to get to like the horror mystery stuff, but I was still enjoying the wackiness stuff. And Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen are great because they're playing those roles, but they're playing very different characters, outlandish ones as well. So I'm very excited for the next, because what we have not, so we got 7 more weeks of this. I'm very excited. Once we're getting to those like last 3 episodes, which they've talked about being like longer and barn burners, like once this mystery starts like getting unraveled, like even at the end of this episode 2, it was like, oh man, we're moving. And I can't wait for next week. And I can't wait to see throughout the weeks like theories and little things, because I already have some questions for you guys, and I can't wait.
Is like each week going to be 2 episodes, or is it just for the first week?
I think first week only, and that's because Mando did that. But remember, Mando was separated by days the first 2 episodes, but I think it's going to go one by one now. And then there's, I legitimately think there's only like a 1 week break, and then Falcon Winter Soldier kicks up. So pretty nice.
Because I told you guys before we even watched it, like it was a surprise to me that there was 2 episodes, but while I was watching it, I was really happy that there was, because like without going into spoilers, I just felt like it was just a really good way to do it, because I don't want to say too much. So I don't really have anything else to say non-spoiler wise.
No, I agree with you, and we'll get into that. So we're going to throw to our first ad break, and then after that is the spoiler. So if you've not watched, which I'm sure you have, but if you've not watched, you can tune out and come back in and then enjoy it. So 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get into it. I'm gonna just ask right off the bat. Episode 1, what's going on with this date? Because they make a big deal about it being something, and like, oh, it's the boss meeting, oh, it's our anniversary, but it's just like I wonder later on if we're gonna find out that that date means something a lot more. If that's the actual date, like where Vision died or something, because like that date seemed ominous to me. It didn't seem like
Yeah.
and,
Like, because
yeah, go
we
ahead.
got two answers for it, but they
Mhm.
both weren't really like solid. Like they were both kind of like applicable, but at the same time, like it could have been something else. So yeah, I am curious if it leads to something more significant plot wise.
And that's what I love with this show, and I think that's one thing I didn't expect is the whole time, because there's Easter eggs and there's like reveals and stuff like that, but the date thing literally could have just been a fun plot point for them to play around with. But the whole time, like the whole hour I was watching, it actually made me keep watching each scene to be like, okay, am I missing something? Are they
Yeah.
hinting at something? And like even at one point, in episode 2, when there's like a radio talking to her, but like the dials are on certain numbers. I'm like, do these numbers mean anything? And they might not mean anything at all, but that's what I think that's going to be the best part of the show is it almost gets you locked in because you're like, okay, like what am I
Yeah.
missing or what am I
It,
looking for?
I definitely had that feeling too, like where I would be focusing on like kind of everything to see if I could catch on to something. And even like I was just sitting here watching it at my computer, so I had my headphones on. There was a couple scenes that I had to like pause because I thought I heard noise. Like again, I'm getting all paranoid. I'm home alone right now watching this freaky show.
You hearing a tree on your window?
Yeah. But then like I would hear certain things that I'm like, man, maybe I like want to watch each episode with headphones because like there was little things that I was hearing. When they did the little ad for the toaster, like when it turned on, it sounded exactly like Tony's like whatever those are called, like his hand
Arc
glass.
reactor or,
Yeah.
why am I forgetting? There's not a plat.
Is it like a hand
Ion ray
repulsor or
something
something?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a repulsor. Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
repulsor. So like it did that noise. I feel like I would have missed that if I because it's not very like I don't know emphasized or like loud, but like I just kind of heard it as soon as they turned it on.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I love the two commercials. The two commercials we got the Stark
Struker.
toaster. Yeah, the Struker. Yeah, and then
Struker.
did you guys know? Did you catch anything about the second one?
The
Struker?
watch?
Yeah,
Yeah,
The
the
Hydra
Hydra
symbol?
symbol, yeah.
Hydra symbol. And so Baron von Strucker is the guy who in Age of Ultron had the twins locked up at the very beginning of the movie. He had like a little icon.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. Like they said they were in these commercials. I love that. I hope they continue, but because I love that it just feels like like already we have two tie back to her origins for our MCU as far as Strucker being the person that held her captive, and then Stark being the one that like they remember they saw the bomb in Ultron that killed their parents and everything like that. So we're getting like little flashes of like her and like
Yeah.
like I don't know if, like I guess I'll jump a little back and forth, but this is where I just want to go between the commercials, between when they give their magician's name and she's what is she, Glamour?
Glamour.
Glamour, and he's Illusion. She's completely. We talked about this in our predictions. Is she knowingly doing this, or is she against her will? Maybe it's a little against her will, but I think she's knowingly doing all this because, like, I'm jumping to the very end of episode 2. But when she sees that beekeeper and she goes no, and it literally rewinds, and it's what we talked about. What if every time there's a break or something's happening, she switches decades to try and reset it or push people out? That's exactly what she's doing. Because if she would have saw the beekeeper and then it reset, I would have been like, okay, there's some confusion there. But her saying like no, like that's to me her deciding no, this I'm going back to this life, and that's very interesting because I wasn't sure were we gonna get like there still might be somebody, and there is somebody in this that is evil. They kind of introduce. I'll talk about it, but like she's at least participating in this, and that's very fascinating.
Yeah, like it seems like there's a lot of control on her end on like not just with her doing, magic and stuff, like her regular powers, but like she's actually controlling certain things like oh yeah, dude. Like when those moments switch though, when it like gets intense, like when they're at the dinner party and then like the dude's just choking there, like I was like getting freaked out there, and like it's very ominous. And then when she finally is just like Vision, help him, and then obviously he gets up and help him. So that's definitely like the first solid indicator for me that she is actually in control of this event because. I don't know, like it was weird, like Vision's reaction to the guy choking because again, it's like this imaginary world, but like that was his boss, and if it was real world Vision, you would think that he would have just helped the guy like right away. He was like really like restraining himself almost, it seemed, or like just
Well,
looked uncomfortable.
I guess in their mind, the reason he's doing that is because and that's what I had that scene to talk about. Is he not doing it because in their mind they don't want to reveal their powers and potentially get caught or something like that?
Yeah.
That's how at first I took it, but then it got really horror bendy with the wife just saying, "Stop it, stop!" Like at first I thought it was just, oh, they don't want to do that because they just don't want to risk someone finding out their powers. But then it's almost like so they're. Oh, I fucking love this. It's like they're in this like play situation where they're playing real life, and she's like a puppeteer to Vision, but then when someone's about to die, she has to break that. Like when they don't remember that they're superheroes and Avengers, it's like they actually don't remember that, but then she can take them out of it if she really wants to save this guy, and then she puts them like right back in. And I think Vision, the same way with the beekeeper moment, when she goes out there and she's like, no, and he goes back, he repeats the same line to her, and it's like he has no memory what at all that this happened, where I think she's cognizant that she is turning this around. What do you think, Taylor, about do you think she is
like Vision in this sense? I don't like, obviously he's not real in this, he's part of the illusion, and I only say that because of how she controlled him, because he wasn't doing anything, because everything was kind of like struck and broken at that link when the guy was choking. So when Wanda was like, Vision, help him, it wasn't like her asking him. She was aware that she had to direct him to do that because she had to stay in control of her setting and her dream sequence she's in. So again, when she rewound everything in the second episode and he didn't remember, I just took that as he didn't remember because he's part of the illusion, right? I mean, that's why I make his name Illusion again. It kind of just is fitting because it's all an illusion. He's an illusion himself. So my question though, and I guess we'll probably get to it, but the logo that we keep seeing, that's Sword, right?
That's Sword. Yeah, they're like the new Shield in this universe. They are from the comics, but they are the new Shield.
Okay, so I reckon that they're obviously trying to pull her out of whatever trap she's invested into now. So that makes me wonder now, you say that she's willingly in here, which I am inclined to agree with now after seeing this, but at the same time, why is it that she keeps having these, well, I guess because like the toy plane, you have the Sword logo on there and she sees that. There's a few other things that happen, but it seems like she's curious and she's concerned with it, like the radio again and stuff like that. Like she could be blocking herself out and trying to close herself down, but at the same time, why is she so tuned in and curious about it? Like she's trying to like figure it out to get out when she would know that they're trying to stop her and she should be resisting.
Is she curious or is she just worried about the potential threat? And that's what I wonder. Like she's curious to figure out what this is so she could stop it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, that would make
Kirklin,
sense.
You had your hand up, but you want to show us your quality.
Yeah, well, just getting back to what Taylor was saying about like Vision kind of just being an illusion, being a product of Wanda. I definitely agree with that sentiment because every scene that it would be like Vision going to work or like going to that council meeting, I was like waiting for something weird to happen, but it would basically be all comedy hits unless it was around Wanda. That was kind of when stuff would get weird. So I definitely feel like that just reinforces your statement there, Taylor, how Vision isn't really like a major player in this situation. He's kind of just another illusion that Wanda's made. Because yeah, like every time that he would go out and do something, like I was waiting for him to be like, whoa, I don't know, like have one of the other NPCs, I'll call them, act weird or something. Travis Snell of Geek First Podcast wants to show his quality.
I don't want to show my quality. So I'm with you. If I had the gun to my head, said, do you think he's real or not? No, but I do wonder if them calling him illusion and stuff like that is them trying to throw us off the scent. I do wonder if she has like kidnapped or taken his body somehow and he is partially alive, because you're right, there wasn't no hijinks, but when he goes to his job and in the background it's just called computer services, and he's even asked, he's like, what do we do here? And they're like, we don't know. Like he's like, we don't sell anything, we don't build anything. He's like, and then his friend to him just goes, I don't know, but when you got here, production went up 300%. And that's where it's like, is there someone trying to, like, was there someone working on Vision and she,
Yeah.
like I said, I can't explain because it's going to get fucking weird, but like, that's the only thing that I thought, well, is there a chance? And also, it had to do with me seeing, like, when they have when episode 1 ends, someone is watching like this go down on a TV screen almost, right?
Yeah, they're like
There's-
taking notes.
yeah, and it's like that to me. I don't think they can get into Wanda's head, but I feel like you could tap into Vision's head as like a somewhat microphone, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I kind of compared it to a puppet on strings, where Vision is alive, but he only has so much control over himself, and maybe throughout the series he'll get more control, and that's when he'll start to
Yeah.
realize something's not right. So at first I thought, oh, he is an illusion, but I am wondering if, like I said, she has his body somehow. Because how else, with these people watching on the TV what's going on, they couldn't tap that into Wanda's head. That doesn't make sense. But
Yeah.
Vision, who's a machine that they have data on, I think there's something where he's maybe like half alive, or I don't know how. But and also, before you go, Kirklin Pats, to show your quality, when we have that shot of the trailer of her creating the stone. What happened if she did actually recreate the stone and somehow brought him back, but he's like
Right.
buggy and stuff, everything? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I do like what you're saying there. How like maybe he is actually alive in the real world. Maybe not to a normal extent. Like it could just be that like they're actually just hooked up to, his CPU, his motherboard, whatever. Like just to get the base like connection there. And I was actually having those thoughts too, because I feel like the moments that they showed Vision like going to his job or something, and like you mentioned, like it's always this computer like
Computer services is what it was
yeah,
called.
computer services, and then like what he was asking, like what do we do here? It's like process information, do ins and outs and stuff like that. And like I was having that thought, I'm like, maybe this is actually applying to the real world. Like maybe that's actually what they're doing, like to him, right? Like they're processing data from him. So again, that could totally make sense, and it's interesting. See more episodes coming up and see where it goes. It's just, I'm so impressed with this show, honestly, because it's such a mystery theory crafting show, and I'm so happy that it is coming out week by week, because then we can have these weekly discussions. It's fun. Yeah.
Taylor, you have something to say?
Well, I was gonna say, just like we're all on the same page that you guys know that first guy watching was from Sword, right?
Yeah, because he had the little
The
notebook there.
yeah. When you said some guy, I was like, okay, do they know? They
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
I got a question for you then, or both of you guys. So that voice, did you recognize it at all? It's like
The one
Wanda,
that was asking
like,
Wanda? No.
it's like stop this or whatever he was saying.
Nothing that I heard that maybe
Yeah,
it's not like an actor or anybody we know
Yeah.
yet, so might
Okay.
just be somebody.
New
But
player.
do you guys think that the name Agnes would be short for Agatha?
What's the significance there with
Yeah,
that name?
what
Well,
is
her nosy neighbor is named Agnes. I'm just asking.
Yeah,
do you-
I loved her character, by the way.
So-
she was so great.
There's been lots of speculation that her character, and we never got a name. Her character was just the nosy neighbor. Her name is Agnes in the show now. Agatha Harkness is, I'll give you just a little brief bio on her. She's dissipated as original witches from Salem Witches Trial. She somehow survived and later became a significant figure in Marvel continuity, and later began mentoring Wanda Maximoff in Real Magic. Agatha was eventually killed by Wanda, who went insane. And so she has quite a history with Wanda and trying to get her to cope and learn her powers. And there's been lots of speculation that she is this character, Agatha Harkness. And the second they say it, Agnes, I'm like, that's it. Because there's also later on, when we haven't got to yet, in the previews when they show them in the Halloween episode.
I was gonna
which
say
think
she's a witch, right? Yeah.
she's a witch, yes.
Mhm.
And even there's one poster of, there's a medallion Agatha wears. It's like this little like circle purple thing, and it's not in the show yet, but she was in the character poster. So obviously I think it was already gonna be her, but the fact that her name is Agnes is like, okay, so that's where, when they're like, who's doing this, she could be one of, or the one doing this, because there's that moment when she was cooking in the first episode and she just kept barging in, and they did make it seem like the nosy neighbor, but then eventually got to a point where it's just like she was asking so much, like, how would you do that, how would you do that, and it does seem like she might be just tapping into like, watch like Wanda and what she's doing. And even at one point, she only met Vision for a second, and she's like, "Oh, who is this?" Like she is that nosy neighbor, but she's nosy neighbor to the extent that she feels like a stalker, and she's trying to figure this
Yeah.
all out. So I think that's going to be a big reveal later on that she is this. I don't know if it'll go the same route as the comic books, but Agatha Harkness is somebody that has a darker past, that has a history of Wanda, and this character, all we knew from lead up, looked like her. The name and even her in the show was like, okay, I love she's great. Catherine Hahn is great. Like ever since Step Brothers, every time she's in something, she just knocks it out of the park. But like to see her in this role, like she's still like comedic and friendly enough so far, but there definitely was okay, and that's my comic book stuff too to know okay something's up. But they dropped enough hints even in these first 2 episodes to be like, okay, she might not be exactly there. Like she might not be there for the right reason. She might not just be Wanda's fake friend like
Yeah.
everyone else.
That definitely, that detail went over my head, but it definitely makes sense though, because I mean she was the most relevant character that wasn't Wanda or Vision in both the episodes, and I can only see that carrying on as we get further along the season, because I don't know, like she just seems like the main side character, I guess you could say, and yeah, that's like from what you're describing, Travis, I think she fits that description.
And because like next to Vision, that's the one she shares the most screen time with, right?
Yeah.
So, and like I guess I didn't shout this up, but I also do love, like we were talking about the '60s comedy, but like that classic setup of she thinks Vision's coming home so they can get it on,
so funny.
and
Yeah.
Vision thinks they're coming. Like that's just like any comedy back then, and that's great. But that stuff was all fantastic. I was like not surprised, but just because Disney, it's not even the big scene, but just even when they put the beds together and they went under the
Honestly,
blankets, I was like, oh, okay.
Honestly, yeah, I was having those thoughts like multiple times in the show. There was a couple sexual innuendo like jokes that they made, and I was like, oh, okay. Like maybe I'm just, I don't know, so not used to seeing that on my Disney Plus app yet.
Well, and I also feel that like the MCU in general is like a very like non-sexual place. Like there's not like there's Peter Quill always making his jokes, and Tony Stark had it when he was single. But other than that, it's not like characters kiss, but that's not like too much of a thing there. And people always joked about before that
the
some
hero
people
moment.
just feel like asexual, and they're just like, I love you, great. And there's like not much intimacy. Where this was like great, and like, hey, I'm always, you can go to my history, I'm always talking about how fine the dudes look in the world, Michael Fassbender, Mads Mikkelsen, but like, man, Elizabeth Olsen when she was rocking the glamour look, that was some good stuff there. That was that she is a very beautiful woman, and yeah.
That's why Travis snuck an extra 8 minutes into his watch time.
Almost done. Stop it.
It's like 3 minutes. Okay, it's 8 minutes now.
But yeah, man, what a gorgeous one. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so there's quite a few innuendos, and that led to, and I still have some other notes, but just because we're talking about the sex, that led to obviously they got on, and it's so. What do you think the conception? Like we know that was the conception, but like she's pregnant. We knew this was happening in the show, but already episode 2, she's pregnant. It ends with they're on the couch, and literally she's on the couch. She's regular, not pregnant. They cut to a scene, and when she stands up, she's pregnant. It's like she just screwed the child. What do you think? Because she had that moment where they were doing the magic show, and these people who were like robots kept chanting like all the children. What do you think inspired her at that moment to like, I'm gonna have like make this baby appear, make these babies appear? Like that's what was not strange. Like it's all strange to me. But I was trying to think, okay, what was her kind of like motivation for that in this moment?
I feel like even in the first episode when they had the Hearts over for dinner, and like the first thing, Kitty, I'll just call her that from that 70s show.
Yeah, that was so good. I was like the perfect person to have in here.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Like her character, like instantly was like blah blah blah. I forget what she asked her. I'm obviously paraphrasing, but she asked her like, "Why don't you have kids yet?" And I feel like from like that was in the first episode, and I as soon as that happened, obviously we saw the trailers, so we knew that she'd get pregnant. Like, but this whole show, it portrays that comedic family life type show, and I knew it was going to be a very like relevant topic of having a family like that. How do you do that with a robot? I don't know, but I don't really know how to answer your question though, Travis.
Is that
like what thoughts you had?
Is that something that kind of falls in line with the theory you had, Travis, where let's say Sword is controlling Vision and sending signals through Vision to kind of like manipulate and control Wanda. So let's say, oh, they have an end goal in mind, which we're going to get to later in the season, but tentatively now they're like, okay, let's send signals to Vision about getting married, because technically Vision kind of instigated that, getting the rings on
Mm-hmm.
their fingers at the end of that episode. And then again, Vision kind of instigated the whole having kids thing as well. Or they could have put those signals into Vision and triggered the other NPCs to put that thought into her head to have kids. So, like, do we know it's for sure her idea, or do we, like, it could be that she's just being manipulated by her environment, right?
Hmm.
Well, I'm gonna answer that after this ad break. So we're back. Or the other theory that you had, if she's controlling Vision, it's this weird like circle where she put the idea to Vision's head to put it into her head, or she had the idea so she puts it in Vision's head. I really don't know because I like we knew the babies were coming, but I just thought like I thought that there would be a more like we're gonna get an answer. I feel like, but I thought there'd be a more clear reason, or it was gonna be like they have sex and then like maybe there'd be like a time jump of she's pregnant. It's like okay, they got it on now she's pregnant, but literally she just like kind of like the comics, she does just create the children. But that was like I took it as because earlier in the episode, that was episode 2, they were talking about like being normal and appearing normal, and even after the magician show, like oh we fit in and everything like that and blah blah. Blah. I just wonder if this was like a more like another step to try and fit that normalcy of the world, which is still like strange because like is she controlling it? And then we have this blonde lady. What was her name? Dee Dee or Dottie?
Dottie.
Who like why do you think out of everyone so far, obviously we have Agnes who could be, there, like she could have snuck her way in. We have another character I want to talk about in a second, but she's also someone that seems like not like everyone else. She's like, I know who you are. I know what your husband is. But then she would like flip in and out. And I couldn't tell if she was flipping in and out because she was choosing to play coy or if she was like breaks into real world and then flips into
Right.
NPC. And that's why I was wondering, has she actually literally taken over a town with people and has actually taken some of their people's over their mind and stuff? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was something that I found really interesting just from the trailers of I was getting this Get Out vibe of like there'd be these instances of like help me, like get me out, and then they just like would snap back or whatever, and like I absolutely love that movie Get Out, so that's what just got me really hyped on this show and something that just got me, itching for more because I just, unanswered questions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I am curious as to the whole situation on who's really pulling the strings in this situation. Whether it is. I mean, obviously we've seen Wanda having control over certain events, like when she saw the Beekeeper and just did the redo switch basically. And then obviously there's Sword on. We've seen them interacting on like the outside world, taking notes and observing what's been going on, at least on the TV show. It's interesting too how it shows like the credits for like the fake show, and then it would go to like what they're watching. So like, yeah, I just have so many questions on like how they're interacting with Wanda and all these things and how it's done through this TV show or whatever it is.
And I love the actual credits of the show, like the real life, like Paul
it's
Bettany.
yeah,
Oh my goodness, that's some top
it's
quality
movie
stuff
quality.
right
It's
there.
movie
Yeah,
quality credits. Yeah.
it's so good. It's so pretty and everything like that.
Me-
But go
Me
ahead.
and Taylor were laughing before you got here, Travis, about just like, because I thought there was like an end credit scene or something because I was checking the timestamp and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, there's still like a significant amount of episodes left, and then like, it went to credits, and I thought that there was more because it was only like 75% of like the actual timestamp of the whole thing. The credits were just so long. They
Oh
look
yeah, because then
beautiful,
they also play like for us like some of the French stuff and everything like
Yeah.
that, and yeah, it's so funny. But Taylor, what are your thoughts on like kind of who as far as NPCs we talked about? What was her name? Dottie.
Dottie.
Dottie. Dottie. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think she took over like this whole town or anything like that. I mean, in this scenario, like, it depends.
I just thought about because what if she did take over this town and at this one moment this woman broke and she could realize this is Scarlet Witch, this is Vision, these are people on the Avengers. What is she doing? And she knows that she's not one of these
But the
NPC.
town isn't real though, so that's what at least I don't think the town's real in my perspective. So I feel like why would she take over like a fake
Yeah.
town if she's like a villain or something like that? Like it wouldn't matter. So she could be an NPC, but at the same time, I feel like she broke because there was that moment on the radio and that triggered it. And now she's talking. So maybe it's someone speaking to Wanda through her. Like there's the radio
Okay.
speaking through voice. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's tricky.
I just wonder because we have seen like small shots in the trailers when it's like there's the whole town and it seems like there's like a big bubble around it and it's like okay, that's why I wonder, is this like a real city? Like maybe she's changed a bunch of stuff. Is it a real city? And that's what I want to ask next is that plane that she finds, the toy plane.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think like what are you guys' theories on that? Because I have a few, but I don't know what. And it had the sword logo on it as well again. So
It was
a few times
it
we've
was a
seen that.
helicopter.
Sorry, helicopter.
For
You're
those
right, Taylorfield.
Hardcore fans.
Just so you want to be a little snippy, you can go first. What do you have any theories on that helicopter being there?
It being in color was very interesting. Like, it must have like much more symbolic significance to it as opposed to just being visually and aesthetically calling your attention to it for the story's sake. But I don't understand because there was like a long period of time where she was really like engulfed with this with the toy
It's a helicopter.
helicopter. Yeah, so yeah, it's odd. I don't really have any theories because I think it's still too soon to really have any or form anything. Again, I just think maybe it's just something that they planted to just try and get her attention. Maybe the tree
to fuck with
smacking.
her.
Yeah, just to fuck with her. Maybe to have the tree smacking the window, and then because whatever happened, there was a loud thud and noise, and then that was in the bush, and she went there, and then when she grabbed it, she looked up, I think, at the trees, didn't she? So it's. I'm curious because I feel like maybe it's just one of those signs. They're trying to put items in there to jog her memory. But again, a helicopter, I don't get what the significance of a helicopter is to her.
I don't know if there's a significance, but I was wondering because, like, okay, it could be a toy, but why would they have their logo on this toy?
Yeah.
Is there any chance this is an actual plane that tried to get through there and it like shrunk somehow or something like that?
Helicopter.
Fuck, yeah, you're right. A helicopter. Is there any chance a helicopter was sent in there or tried to
Yeah.
go through this bubble world and somehow it got kind of minimized into this? Because we have this. We have the beekeeper, and I'm not sure if you guys caught her, but the character that was Grindelin or whatever, but she like paused when Wanda's like, "What's your name?" She was the girl that did like the magic act with them and that appeared in the box, everything. That's Monica Rambeau. That is the little girl from Captain Marvel. Remember, we heard she was going to be in it. So Captain Marvel's best friend, who
Oh.
has the daughter, she grows up to be Shield sword agent and also a hero named Spectrum. She's in this, so she's clearly, I think, like a sword plant. I wasn't sure if she is in the world and Wanda has like put the magic on her and she's slipping in and out, or if Gridlin was just like that's her cover to try and make it in this world. We don't know yet, but it's interesting. So there's like some signs as far as same thing. Like even though in the we talked about, like, fuck is he a beekeeper? Like why does he have like the sword logo on his beekeeper outfit? And like why is he
Ugh,
coming
that's
from
so
underground?
creepy.
Like what's going on?
I was getting
have no
Lighthouse
idea.
vibes when that happened.
I was gonna say I was getting like Candyman vibes. Like that was such
Yeah.
a creepy appearance that he had. Um,
Thoughts on the helicopter, Kirkland?
the helicopter, yeah. When I first saw it, honestly, my mind just went like Truman Show. I even from the trailers, I kind of had this thought that this world is just not what we think it is. Like it could be like almost entirely in Wanda's head. Again, I'm probably wrong here, but like I almost feel like this world is fabricated. It's not fabricated in the sense that it's a set. It's fabricated in the sense that it's not even a thing, really. Like it's actually just almost like a simulation thing that
She's
somehow
just in
they
a
got
field somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I also feel that all these NPC characters that are going to be reoccurring, I think they're all going to have some sort of significance. Like you were just mentioning, Travis, the Grindelwald chick being some sort of agent. I am curious how like how she got into this town, whether it is a real town, whether it's a plant in this made up world, if we're going with my theory that it is just a made up world, and
Well, the
she's somehow got
beekeeper came from under the ground, so they obviously have ways to sneak in, right? Or was she in this helicopter that maybe crashed and shrunk or something?
Well, like the beekeeper, like that could have just been, a glitch in the matrix of like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that doing there, right? And then yeah, it's so interesting though, because the plane
The helicopter.
helicopter, whatever the hell it is. I
almost 2 a.m.
I almost feel like yeah, it is possible that it is a regular plane. Someone was trying to get in.
No!
Helicopter, aircraft. It was a rotary aircraft. Okay, so it is possible that the helicopter did get changed. Maybe it was a real helicopter. Maybe someone on Sword was using it as like a way to try and get Wanda's attention, like try and like snap her out of it, because clearly someone's trying to get her attention, right? Like speaking to her through the radio and stuff like that. So I am very excited to find out more if someone is really trying to keep her in there, or if it's more she wants to stay in there because this is like her utopia that she's kind of made.
Or a bit of both. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's someone that put her in there, but now that she's there, she likes it. It's
Yeah.
the same way people always talk about the ending of Inception. Nolan says like, the reason Leo doesn't watch his ring or the totem spin is because he doesn't care anymore. So it's
Yeah.
like whether it's a real or not, he just is happy to see his kids and he wants to be there. It's the same
And-
thing. She might have been put
Yeah.
there, but now this is happier than I was on the outside where I've lost my
She's
brother.
having- Exactly.
everything.
She's pregnant, right? And like all these happy moments, like when she sees the beekeeper, it's like, no, like this isn't happening. And then she goes back. It's like, Vision, is this real?
Mm-hmm.
And then
And it's like
reassuring herself.
even the guy choking, it's like that's her slipping back into like the superhero life that led her to bad stuff. Like, yeah, okay,
Right.
of course she saved the world and stuff like that, but she lost a lot. She had to see Vision die twice. She lost her brother, like she's completely alone. It's just like it didn't go great for her. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be interesting. And then the other time we saw colors too, when Dottie's hand got cut with the glass and everything like that. That's when
Yeah.
we saw the blood. So that was nice to see, like the aesthetic, and that obviously led to the end of the episode. It flipped into being. It looks like we're gonna get more of the home improvement kind of like whatever the show her sisters were in. What were they called? With John Stamos. Yeah, Full House. It looks like we're gonna get that era. So like the 80s, 90s kind of early comedy stuff like that. So yeah, we're in full color, and that was fun just to see it all pan around, the screen getting bigger, and yeah, visually the show really good. Like even the black and white stuff, like not that it wasn't good, but just like it was really well shot. It looks very well as far as the budget. That suit Elizabeth Olsen was wearing looked great, so great budget all around. But yeah.
So
I honestly forgot that she was like a redhead too until it went color. I'm like, oh yeah.
So judging at the pace that we've gone so far, so we had like the one time period episode 1, then they jumped ahead in episode 2, then episode 3, I'm assuming, yeah, you're right, the 80s, 90s were in color, and to go through her, I guess, more of her being pregnant, and then the next episode 4, will probably be, I'm assuming, the Halloween scene. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming that leaves 3 episodes left, right? Or how many episodes is there? There's
Well, you
9.
miscounted. There was 9. You left out 5 and 6 somehow. You kind of jumped from 4 to 7.
So we'll have
helicopter
5 episodes left then, because if the next episode is the 80s 90s, and the next episode after that, episode 4, is the Halloween. At least 5 episodes left to where there's not really any time periods left unless they backtrack and go into some. But I think it's going to be present day, like the scenes of them like trying to defend their utopia, I guess.
Well, I think what's going to happen is I think the next 2 episodes will be this like 80s, 90s thing, because we got 2 episodes of the 60s. So I think that's going to be that. And then when we get to 4 and 5, that's going to be like the modern family era. Because there's the times where they showed her with the babies and like the students popping up, and she's like, it's just the way she's spoken some of those trailers. I think it'll be like modern family, like a bit more modern comedies. And then that makes sense because people said like the last 3 episodes are rumored to maybe be like 45 to an hour, and like bigger, heavier stuff. So if the first 6 episodes is all like the slow burn, the build up, different eras, and then the last 3 is the switch and the more action MCU sort of stuff, I think that makes sense. And I hope those rumors are true. If not, I'm enjoying this. But if we're getting 3 episodes that are 45 to an hour and it's like the balls to the walls, like, okay, we're gonna get crazy. Because like this again, like we've talked about for months, but now that we're actually here, this leads to Multiverse of Madness. This leads to Toby and Andrew getting in here. So this finale, I don't know about the other episodes, but I feel like at least the finale or those last 50 minutes, we're gonna get crazy. Like I said, I'm still waiting that $1 million question. There's rumors that Evan Peters is in the show. Who is he playing? You know, is he a new character or is he fucking Quicksilver from the Fox universe? It's just like there's stuff up in the air, and that's where I think that this is gonna be great foreplay for that great release when we get to the hopefully. But I trust them as always. I trust Feige and the team. And from just even these 2 episodes, I go, okay, this was weird, and this could have easily fell on your face in the first 5 minutes, but I'm in it. And I get if some people don't like it, that's fine. But for me, it's like, this is working, and I'm ready. And that's what I mean. Like, of course, I'd love to just watch it all, but at the same point, like I could see, like, okay, we're gonna get slow burn episodes, but I'm still gonna enjoy them, and we're gonna have good conversation. And yeah, it's exciting.
So was there a time jump from the first episode and the second episode?
No,
because they're in different houses though, right? And
there
they
was a mini
they switch
time
their
jump,
clothes.
yeah. And even the way they like shot it was different than the other one. So maybe they're more like in the 70s sort of comedy era, like that. Like it's like a little advanced because even then, like their cameras looked more distinguished. Where the first episode, it looked very almost like grainy and very
fuzzy.
old time.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think
you're right.
There's definitely a time jump because the intro is what really sells it too, right?
Yeah, it's very Bewitched, which was great, like the whole animated thing and everything. And even then, when they like, and you know what, I didn't show them enough because I was just like goggling over Elizabeth Olsen, this beautiful creature in the magic scene. Paul Bettany was great during that magic scene because he's just pretty much playing like a drunk Vision, but it was great. He gets the gum in there. I love the little animation, but just everything when he's doing like the tricks and she's covering up for him and everything, just really fun, like back and forth stuff. And I was just like, I was sitting there already. I knew it was episode 2 was not gonna happen, but I was like, man, is this fucker gonna turn into his robot self in front of everybody? Because when he's like, my final trick, and then he pulled the car, it's like, oof. But it gave me that feeling because he kept upping the ante of like he's flying, he's lifting his like, is he gonna turn to like and like then what happens? But obviously, for the children it didn't happen. He just did the car trick and got the king eventually. But yeah, you're right. There was a mini time jump. Now thinking back on it. Yeah.
Awesome show, man. I'm so pumped. It's finally here.
Taylor, do we rate these?
I'll rate episode 1 like I'll give it like a 4 out of 5. I think it was hype and it just had those horror-esque moments. And I'll give episode 2 a 4.5 out of 5 because it was, again, it upped the ante with the horror stuff and it just got really, really intense at times, but really comedic. So I like them a lot.
I'm gonna pull a Kirklin Patzer and wait till the thing ends because the reason is with Mando, I felt like those were more single episodes. Where already when we're watching 1 to 2, I feel like when this show's over, it's gonna feel like one long big movie. It already feels like that. Like those episodes 1 and 2 flew into were so fluid into one each other. It didn't feel like a show, which I like. Like it's a nice hybrid because I can't because this is the thing. I don't want to be that guy and drop like 2 5 out of 5s, but I don't have any cons. I don't have anything that I'd say, oh, I changed it. Like, I think it's one of those, like, I might have cons when we get to the end, and it's like, oh, why did they, do this? Or maybe they dropped a bunch of mysteries for no sake, and it was just like to have some fun with us. Like, I don't need every little mystery they drop on us to lead to everything, but I don't want to just be like the plane for the sake of the plane. I want some backstory on some of the stuff eventually. I don't want it just to be like, oh, look at this. So it's tough because there's nothing as far as like the comedy work for me, the acting, the effects, everything like that. So there's nothing where I was like, oh, this is wrong. But I don't know what would be wrong in this show yet because it's just like the way it is. It's just so out there. So I think I'll wait to the end of this one. And that's not going to be the whole way. I think there's things like Falcon Winter Soldier I could easily rate. But this one, it feels like it's going to be a nice, long, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hour movie. And that's great. I'll take it. Yeah. So.
How is the series directed? Is it multiple directors per episode, or
I think it might be one primarily, or at least one showrunner, because the guy, his name was like Matt Shankman or whatever. He was on both episodes, so I'll have to look into that. But I know there's obviously like the one showrunner. I think that's Matt Shankman, but I think they do have multiple directors, but probably not. They probably do what Mando does and probably stick between like you do two or something like that because there is only 9. So
Yeah, and like the way that these two, like you mentioned, like just went together, it felt very fluid. It didn't feel
Yes.
like two different directors like Mando would happen, because we would be watching one episode and the next episode would feel completely different. So
And
I
plus
was
the
just
Feige
curious.
effect, right? Too. You know,
Right.
he is like the guy. Like you got to do this. You got to do this. and-
Yeah. Especially when this is an MCU product, it's
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
a certain standard to uphold.
Oh yeah, and I think they did. I'm very
Absolutely.
excited for the next few weeks, boys. I think we're gonna have some good times
too.
talking about this. Oh boy, I'm just excited. When that Marvel music hit, I was excited. Like,
Oh.
man, we're about to get new
Yeah.
MCU content finally. And
It
oh.
didn't really hit me that I was watching like MCU content until that, the Marvel came up,
Mhm.
and I was hyped.
Yeah, so yeah, we're in a new era officially. So let us know what you thought about this episode, whether you're watching on YouTube, tweet at us, especially as Facebook. We hope you enjoy it. If not, like when I said, I didn't have any cons, let me know. Obviously, I feel like there might be some cons that you just maybe don't like the style of show. That's fine. But if there's anything else, let us know. If you also love it, let us know. Yeah, we'll be doing this every week. Just check out, I should have plugged at the beginning, but we have a bloopers episode out. We just did a whole big 3-hour newscast. Chris Evans coming back as Cap was the main topic, and just tons of fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week to talk about WandaVision episode 3, and it will not be boring.
Bye bye.
Goodbye. Beautiful.